hope you're looking forward to a wonderful semester and looking forward to this particular module in Orientation 101, this module being Financial Aid 101. So we're going to answer some of the pertinent questions that are related to financial aid and hopefully answer some of the questions that you have not had a chance to ask. So thank you for joining me, and I'll try to make it as exciting as I possibly can. And we appreciate you being here at Alabama University. Now, I'm sure when many of you saw the title of this particular module, you thought it was going to be a snooze fest. So I'll do my best to make this a little less boring as you might have thought it would be. But financial aid is something that we all need to make sure that we understand, that we're aware of, and that we know how to navigate around while in college if we're in a position where we need to use financial aid. So we're going to answer three main questions over the course of this presentation. We're going to answer what financial aid is, how you get it, and how do you keep it. Those are three things that I want you to walk away from when we finish this presentation. So let's start with the first one. So what is financial aid? Financial aid can be defined as any money received as a result of being a student at Alabama University. So you can get that in three ways. You can get it federally, you can get it through the university, or you can get it from the private sector. From a federal perspective, that's what you're going to get from your FAFSA application. It can come in the form of grants, guaranteed student loans, or work studies. Then you have university financial aid, which can come in the form of academic scholarships or departmental scholarships and stipends that are exclusive to your area of study or your specific college that you're getting your degree through. Then you have band, choir, of course, athletic scholarships, and even employee tuition assistance can be considered financial aid with regard to university money to fund someone's education. And then lastly, you have the private sector, businesses and organizations that build along with churches. Some of you may have been the benefactors of scholarships provided to you after you completed high school from your churches or your local organizations in your hometown may have given you a stipend or a scholarship to help fund your time here at Alabama. Of course, there's fraternities and sororities, and then lastly, we have veterans benefits, whether it be the veteran using those monies for himself to get his degree, or the veteran allowing their dependents to come and use their veteran benefits to fund their time here at Alabama. How do you get financial aid? First, by completing the FAFSA. The new application deadline is October 1st, followed by a priority deadline, which is on February 1st. You're also going to be answering some questions with regard to your dependency status, followed by reporting your income, and then you're just going to e-sign and submit. Once you get in there, you have the necessary documents to be able to and answers to dependency questions. Once you get in there, it's not that taxing as far as filling out the application. Just make sure you meet those deadlines, and you shouldn't have any problem applying for and receiving financial aid. The dependency status section of the FAFSA application can be a little confusing, so we'll go over all three sections that you have to answer. The first one talks about dependents and children. The other section is about guardianship and foster care, and then lastly, whether you qualify as an emancipated minor. So even though you may have a child, if you cannot prove that you earned enough money to support both you and that child, then you can answer yes to that question. So even if you make $4,000 or $5,000 over the summer, in a job that you might have had over the summer, if you can prove that you were able to take care of yourself and the child with that income, then section of the FAFSA application. And then in terms of legal guardianship, even though you may have grown up living somewhere else other than with your birth parents, if you didn't go through the court system to legally change your guardianship, then you cannot answer yes to that question as well. So even though you may have physically lived somewhere else, if you didn't go through the legal process of getting a court order, then you won't be able to check yes for that particular section of the application. And then finally, the emancipated minor section, the fact that you've reached the age of 18, you're living on your own, taking care of your own business, and you are considered legal. It doesn't mean that the U.S. Department of Education considers you an emancipated individual. So you wouldn't be considered independent there either. So unless similar to the guardianship section, unless you've gone through the legal process of becoming an emancipated minor, you would not be able to consider yourself emancipated, and therefore you cannot answer yes to that section as well. The bottom line is, if you cannot answer yes to any of those questions that we just went over, then you cannot be considered dependent, and thus you must provide financial information about your birth parents. The parent also must sign or e-sign the FAFSA application. All right. Hang with me. We're about halfway through the presentation on financial aid, so just stick with me. You're doing great, I'm sure. But next, we want to talk about federal rewards. We want to talk a little more specifically about what those federal rewards are and what they mean. So in terms of grants, of course, there's the Pell Grant, where eligibility and award amount are determined by the Department of Education. And then you have the Federal Supplemental Educational Opportunity Grants. These grants are similar to Pell Grants, but these funds are based on availability. So there's no guarantee on whether those grants will be available to you from year to year. It's still worth applying for, throwing your hat in the ring for, but those grants aren't guaranteed from year to year. Then you have TEACH. This is for juniors and seniors and grad level teacher education majors in specific subject areas. You must submit an application for these awards each year. And this is something that I'm sure you'll find out more information if you fall under that particular program study. You'll find out more information through your specific college, or stop by the financial aid office so that you are a little bit ahead of when the time comes to submit that application. Then we move to loans. Pell Grants, grants always being the best option because you don't have to pay those monies back. But loans are available to you as well. They come in two categories. You have subsidized and unsubsidized loans. The subsidized loan is where the government pays the interest while you are enrolled in half-time during the 6-month grace period. So you get a little bit of a break on the interest while you're actually in school if you have subsidized loans. Unsubsidized loans are exactly how they sound. The interest begins accruing as soon as you start to use money. So those are the two types of student loans that you might find yourself with. And then lastly, as far as the loans are concerned, are the direct plus loans. Your parents must complete an application for this loan if they would like. If the loan is approved, the approved amount is applied to your account. And then if the loan is not approved, the student subsidized loan can be increased by $2,000 a semester. Application instructions are within the packet. Like I said, if this is one of the loans that you'd like to pursue, if you want more specifics with regard to filling it out, applying for it, then you might want to stop by financial aid. Just get more specifics on it once you do as far as the direct plus loan is concerned. And then lastly, you have federal work study. This is also like the federal supplemental educational opportunity grants. It's based on availability of funds, and the monies with regard to work studies are not guaranteed from year to year. But not only is that an excellent opportunity to get monies for college, it also gives you an opportunity to network and to find employment and find out what life's going to be on the outside of being in school. So I always promote and support work study if you're fortunate enough to be able to find it. As far as accepting your award offers, as far as grants and scholarships are concerned, those will be already accepted for you. But for student loans, you will need to go into Banner to accept those loan awards. And you also will have to go into studentloans.gov to complete the entrance counseling and sign the master promissory note. This is very important because if you don't, even though you have been offered those loans, if you don't go through that process, your loan money will not apply to your student account, and thus your tuition won't go toward the money that you have. So make sure that you go in on Banner self-service, accept your loans, and then also go into studentloans.gov to complete the entrance counseling and sign the master promissory note. And for those of you that may use the Parent Plus loan, your parents must apply for that online, and so the instructions will be laid out within that packet that I'm sure that they can from financial aid that will help them to know what to do as far as accepting the award is concerned. Verification selection is a random selection process by the Department of Education. So our financial aid office is required to verify that the information on the FAFSA application is accurate and correct. So the documents that we need to be able to do that are your Alabama A&M University verification worksheet. Just make sure that you and your parents both sign the document. One can't sign for the other. We also need federal income tax transcripts that can be obtained from the IRS. And verification of untaxed income along with the W-2s. Another piece on scholarships and grants, places that you can find scholarships and grants at your disposal that you may not know to look. You can go to your departments of your particular majors, go to your colleges, find out if they happen to have any scholarships or grants that are available for you to apply for. The worst case, I always say is, if you qualify for a particular grant or scholarship, worst case scenario is that they tell you no. So it's certainly worth your time to qualify for a specific grant or scholarship within a particular program of study to go ahead and apply and just see how it unfolds. You can go to the financial aid webpage and read through and see if any of those options that you are qualified for. Financial aid office is another great place to stop, and then just general internet searches is another way to find scholarships and grants that might help you fund your college education. So now that you've secured your financial aid, gone through the process, done all those things to be able to fund your college experience, we want to make sure that you're able to keep it. One way of doing that is being aware of satisfactory academic progress, also known as SAP. There are three components that make up SAP: the fail percentage, the fail GPA, and the max time frame. The fail percentage is where the students' earned hours divided into the attempted hours does not go below 67%. So you need to make sure that you're earning at least 67% of the hours that you are attempting in your academic program. And then the male GPA, if you're a student, undergrad student, and you fall between 0 and 30 credit hours, that GPA you need to maintain is 1.5 and above. So make sure that as freshmen would fall under that 0 to 30 credit hours. Make sure you keep that GPA up above 1.5 in order to stay in line with SAT. Once you get to 31 to 63 hours, that GPA and that expectation increases. The requirement is of 1.75. So when you get between 31 credit hours and 63 credit hours, the expectation is having a GPA of 1.75. And then once you reach greater than 63 hours, you will need to maintain 2.0 in order to stay in line with satisfactory academic progress. Just for a side note, on a graduate level, satisfactory academic progress is still required, and that number or that GPA is 3.0, just for future reference. And the last thing is the maximum time frame. If the student has attempted more hours than allows the degree they are pursuing, so you don't want that to happen. In other words, you don't want to be taking classes that don't align with your program of study or with your area of expertise that you're pursuing. A good way to prevent that is stay in contact with your academic advisor. Just make sure that each time you register and you get your schedule that those classes align with your bulletin and that they are classes that meet the requirements for your bulletin. If you have questions on that, that's a good reason for you to stay in contact with your advisor instead of, sometimes students get pins and they start scheduling and registering courses that don't fit. You put yourself in a position where you hit that max time frame because you have taken classes that you shouldn't have. Now, there is an appeal process. If you're not making satisfactory academic progress, you have to file your financial aid appeal and submit an academic plan. This is all done online. And for more information on how to do that, where to go to do it, you'll just go to the university's financial aid webpage. You can start with making contact with your academic advisor. They can kind of help you walk you through who you need to see, what you need to do, and just give you a point of contact over at financial aid. Please take note, though, even though you address it via appeal, please note that sometimes it takes several semesters to bring your completion rate up to the required level or your GPA up to the required level for you to meet satisfactory academic progress and thus be eligible to continue your financial aid. So I think the moral of the story is don't find yourself not meeting satisfactory academic progress, and then you won't have to worry about playing catch up with people. So here are some helpful steps to financial aid success. As we talked about earlier in the presentation, you want to make sure you file your FAFSA early, review your student aid report, make any necessary corrections that you might need to make, submit your verification documents, and answer all the questions on verification forms. Be really careful as you do that. Check your banner self-service regularly so that you can make sure you accept your award. Check it at least once a week, just so that you make sure you accept that award, so we can make sure that your statement is clear. Report your outside scholarship so that financial aid can be looking for those so that they can apply it to your account as well. And then once you've secured that financial aid and you're on your way to start the semester, you want to make sure you maintain that satisfactory academic progress. Make sure you attend class, study hard, and stay informed. How do you do that? Just log in, save that Alabama University website to your bookmarks, and I can't express this enough. the academic side as well. Make sure you're checking your email because that's where you're going to get your communication from. One other thing is just remember that we can't help you academically, and financial counselors can't help you with your financial aid if you don't make them aware that a problem exists to give them an opportunity to fix it. So make sure you go and see your financial aid counselors over at financial aid if you have an issue or a concern. And in most cases, those issues and problems can be worked out. Speaking of financial aid counselors, here you'll find a list of counselors' names along with the alphabets that they serve. So if you need to make contact with your financial aid counselor, you could use this as a reference, and I would just reach out and make contact. If it's nothing more than just saying hello, glad to be on the campus. Is my financial aid squared away and good to go? If not, what do I need to do to make sure that it is in good state? But here's a list of the financial aid counselors along with the alphabet so that you kind of know where you fall and who your financial aid counselor is. Well, I hope that wasn't too painful. I thank you for your attention, and I hope the information that you received will help you with regard to financial aid. And like I said, if you have any questions, don't hesitate to reach out to financial aid and specifically to your counselor to get any answers that you might need. Thank you again. I hope you have a wonderful semester, and I look forward to meeting you and go.